Hello and welcome everyone to that show we do each and every Thursday called the Warhammer Meta Chasers. My name is Paul, your host. I'm joined by Dustin Henshaw
Hello, everybody.
and Adam Camilleri.
Evening, everybody. Welcome to the show.
When I say we do it every Thursday, we do it live every Thursday. Last week, I was exclusive to the Patreon after show.
Yeah, couldn't quite make the main one, but caught us on this second half, which you can also catch should you wish to get involved and support us in the things that we do. Go over to Patreon, search Warhammer Meta Chasers, and get involved wherever you may be. You will need to get to the second tier of that Patreon to get the part two, which will be coming thick and fast. We're not going to be holding back. One of the cool things we did on this week's episode was break down the undefeated Death Guard list that went 5-0 at a GT last weekend.
They say it couldn't be done.
Exactly.
But someone did it, and good on them. And again, we'll talk about that stuff. And I was only kind of tongue in cheek saying exclusive because that was just a coincidence. We're gonna do it each and every week live here, and you can't be the People's Murphy if you can't be hanging out here with all the people.
The exclusive Murphy, not the people's anymore.
But this is a show where we run down what is the biggest and best tournaments coming up over the weekend. We're going to talk about the factions you're going to see there. We're going to talk about what the meta, how it exists, what we think it is. We might even talk a little bit about how to beat it if we can even figure it out. Right now, it is a little bit of the Wild West out there, but there are some emerging titans as far as faction goes and archetypes goes. But let's see if that holds up this week, which is the true second week of this brand new edition of Warhammer 40,000.
And it's already been patched by GW with the balanced data set coming, 36 hours ago, boys, dropped?
Yep, roughly.
And so some of the events you got coming up are with the new slate, some are not. I have tried where I could to, if they weren't using the slate, to get factions that would not have changed very much. So there is still a lot of Eldari coming. Some of them are with the new points, some are not, but I needed to give you guys the scope. So that means that we haven't had any night lists on today's show because they're fundamentally changed in every single way.
Yeah. I mean, really, it just kind of changed a few. They lost, an armature and a half?
Essentially,
like
and then...
No, it's like 2 armatures.
Because the enhancements make it really awkward.
Right, the enhancements.
Yeah.
Like the best list I'm coming up with is 1995, and I got no bondsman abilities in what I was thinking. But, it's one of those...
My LCD kills me.
Yeah. But we'll see how that plays out because there are some, and look, I don't want to give anything away because we don't know what we're going to see or maybe what some of these amazing generals are going to come up with. But there's, when you start working in some of the Forge World Knights and that kind of stuff, maybe there's a new path to greatness there. I don't think like the Knights are going to be mothballed by any stretch of the imagination. It just is not as easy to get that over the top list. Over the top, see what I did there? The towering list, as it was before. And I mentioned we do this live. We have a great chat community. The chat is already pointing out that we started this episode a few minutes late. Of course, you don't know that. You're listening to us after the fact on the aggregators. So, we gotta do a little best for both worlds. And we also, when we go through the list at the end of each and every event, we pick who we gonna think the winners are, what we think they're gonna be the top slots, either the factions or the players we think are gonna be winners of that. And then that's something we kind of unpack in the after show, which is exclusive to Patreon that we were talking about. We score points off of each other, and it's fun. You don't want to miss that if you can do it. Chad, thanks for hanging out. Again, when I mentioned we have a great chat community, come be a part of it if you can. 9 p.m. ish Eastern time Thursdays. Go.
Sometimes life gets in the way, but we're still here.
3 events to run down: Salt City GT, the TGX, and the Warhound GT. We also like to do where in the world is War Games Live? War Games Live is actually going to be covering the Warhound GT. We'll talk about that, where it is, how many players, and all that kind of stuff when we get to that point in the show. How are y'all doing?
Dustin, hanging in there?
Oh, I'm hanging in there. It's a wild ride being a new dad. I can tell you that for sure. It is fun. It is exciting. It is tiring. It is a wild ride.
This is month 1 done? Yeah, you're 1 month in. This is
1 month today. Actually, he is 1 month old.
There you go. Well, it's another thing you get to experience on the Warhammer Meta Chasers. You get the full dad experience. As
it's true. Like how do I keep playing and keep chasing the meta while I have a newborn? Well, I just played Scar yesterday. I've been chasing the meta still.
I'm still sharp. Here.
I'm staying sharp. I am not falling off. I'll bring this kid with me in a baby carry while I play a game if I have to.
I would like to point out to people at home that we have reskinned and done a bit of work on our PowerPoint presentation. A lot of new color palettes and new backgrounds and things like that. Very open to feedback if they're not visually, pleasing. If you're not really able to digest the information on the screen, please let us know. I'm very happy to keep working on that to try and get it right for you all.
Don't adjust your set. Still the same old show around here.
That's right. Just looks a little different.
Let's get into it. We've got the Salt City GT. This is from Syracuse, New York. That is in the United States. 76 players, 7-round event. That's a cool number of players for that number of rounds. You're going to see some interesting things, unless they've got maybe rules that mean you can't play the same player or something like that. I wonder how that's going to work out, but I think that's going to create some interesting tension as the weekend goes on.
Yeah, but it's always fun to see those. I like the longer rounds with even the shorter player bases, because it like you were saying, it actually creates some good dynamics in the matchups and stuff. Some people that you didn't think were going to win can just end up winning.
That's exactly right. This is where the point in the show where we'll run down the factions that you're going to see there. And Dustin, would you mind telling us what we are going to see over the course of this event?
I love doing that. So the Imperial Profession, there are 3 Sisters of Battle, 5 Custodes, 3 Astromilitaire, 2 Grey Knights, and 5 Imperial Knights. Space Marines, there's 4 Adeptus Astartes, 4 Dark Angels, 3 Space Wolves, a Blood Angel, a Death Watch, and 2 Black Templar. Chaos, there's 4 Chaos Space Marines, 4 T-Suns, 1 Death Guard, 1 World Eater, 4 Demons, and 4 Renegade Knights. Xenos, there's 2 Necrons, 2 Orcs, and 3 Tau. Hive Mind, there's 1 Tyranid and 1 Gene Stealer Cult. Eldari, there's 11. I was ready to say this is a great 18%. Spread.
Yeah,
this is a great spread, and then we got to the Eldari.
The cliff appeared.
The cliff
loomed out of the mist.
Oh,
we thought we were like in the 4s and 5s, and then the cliff.
It was great.
Right up.
It was great. Yeah, so the faction podium was Eldari at the top with 11, and then the cliff to Imperial Knights and Custodes, which are also very well represented. They are very strong factions, but they're at 5. And then Astartes, Dark Angels, Chaos Space Marines, CD. What the heck is CD?
Chaos Demons.
Chaos Demons. What?
I wanted it to fit in one line.
What?
I wanted it to fit in one line, mate.
I would have guessed it better if you said D. All right.
I just said, okay, we'll do it. So you can just read out and D. There are 4 Ds at this event.
4 Ds.
Because that's going to go down well with
4
our
big
lines.
The T-Suns and Chaos Knights at 4. Yeah, Dorian, you're almost right. I have 3 hours of sleep right now, so this is what you're in for.
Oh, you're doing great.
Apart from Eldari, boys, that is a beautiful freaking spread.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Is magnificent. So hopefully,
there's some sleeper factions in here that do not have as much representation as I think they're going to have in the next 2 weeks, and I'm curious if that plays out.
There are some notable missing factions here. The 2 that came to mind immediately was, Death Guard have got a player here, but Votan and Admech do not. There is no Votan, no Astra Militarum. No Votan, no Adeptus Mechanicus at this event, which is an interesting thing to unpack, and we'll see it somewhat mirrored in some further stats later down the track. But yeah, this is really good. So this is an extremely good spread. The Adeptus Astartes is out in force, 4 Dark Angels and 4 regular Astartes, most of which are pack and heat. I can tell you when I unpacked a few of those, they're absolute savage lists. 2 Templars as well, very healthy Space Marine numbers, really healthy Chaos numbers as well. Like 4 CSM was more than I would have expected also.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, I've been looking at the CSM just to kind of see what they're like. They're not bad. Like, they're not top tier, but they have some juice in them. They do.
I think what we've seen in the past is that they've got a lot of medium units. And you can stack up the right list of medium units. You'll probably do really well. They can also pack some of those weapons and stuff that actually do things to vehicles, and maybe that's what's got them in the meta right now.
Absolutely. GSC numbers are a little so that's one of the only ones I would expect it to be is in the 3s and the 4s. But GSC is a weird one. It kind of has a global ebb and a flow, where there is just it could be the best army in the world, but some cities just don't have a player base for the faction.
Yeah, and that's
a lot of models.
You see a lot of them. It is a lot, and especially this edition right now. The way you play this list right now, it is a lot of models. There were ways to do it the other way before, like in 9th edition, you didn't have to bring like just loads and loads of battle line, but now they're kind of good because they just keep coming back, right?
Just think if you'd started painting your GSC army when they first came out. you'd be ready.
You'd be like
you'd be
me.
mostly ready.
Have several full armies.
Is that 5 years ago? No, that's 7 years ago.
When they officially came out?
If you did 10 models a week, you would just be ready.
You'd be ready.
You mean as
this
a separate
tournament this
faction,
weekend.
Yeah. You would be ready. You would be ready. Or
like
if you live local to me, you could just borrow my army like someone's doing this weekend.
It really feels like it's a good Warhammer army. I mean, AdMech in Australia was famous as one of the Warhammer armies of like 7th and 8th edition because it was just so expensive down here to buy it that it was just Warhammer.
Yeah,
but anyway, let's break into some of the top players in attendance.
If this is your first time listening to the show, hopefully we got some folks that are finding us and want to know what's happening in the brand new edition of the game. We pick out several lists. I'm going to kind of spot. Sometimes there's a bit of a shooty list. Sometimes there's a bit of a melee list, and sometimes there's a bit of a meme list. Sometimes it is also tied to the what we believe are the top ranked players in attendance, or Patreon subscribers that have come into the events that we're covering, and that kind of stuff. So there's lots of different ways we can focus this on. We highlight at least from the event. We were exactly what they're running.
Exactly right. So first attendance, we have Mr. Brad Chester. You guys still hear me? Beauty. We have Mr. Brad Chester first up. He's playing Eldar. He's got a battle host, of course. We haven't got any other options. And I've been questioning why I'm listing the detachments, but I am because they're going to change in the future. I'm going to start as I mean to continue. I'm going to start this edition as I mean to continue.
We have a method.
He has an Autark Wayleaper and Illic Night Spear. That's 2 characters that both pack, I believe, Lone Operative. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure the Wayleaper does. I know Illic does. 3 Fire Prisms, 2 Hornets, 3 Night Spinners, 1 unit of 5 Rangers, 3 D-Cannon support platforms, 3 single War Walkers, and 3 units of 5 Warp Spiders. Now, the reason I pulled this one out is because, to my mind, this is future-proof. So, because he didn't take the Wraith Knights, so there's not going to be any huge points imbalances going to come his way. The only things that have really changed is Prisms and Night Spinners have gone up, and it probably costs you like a War Walker or a Hornet to make the way for them to get into the list. But this is pretty freaking savage. It's pushing indirect metrics, it's pushing mortal wound metrics, it's pushing mechanized metrics, it's pushing speed on you as well. Warp Spiders are extremely quick. You can have so many little.
They play the missions really well. So that one of the best missions, they're not, as dominant, I think, as a lot of people thought they might have been after seeing a couple of the previews. But what they really do is help you score those points.
Exactly right. Between like the War Spiders and the Hornets, just go and buzz around, just getting you whatever card you pulled off the top. It's a really well balanced list, despite it looking like it's Unga Bunga all tanks.
Nothing wrong with all that. All tanks.
No, nothing wrong at all.
People are usually teching towards that. Obviously, you look at this right now. He's teching to anti-tank while being full tank almost.
Yeah.
That's kind of where the meta is right now, because tanks right now are like, you have to bring specific weapons to kill big tanks. Otherwise, killing them is very hard. So,
exactly right.
Dorian saying that, the Illic giving Lone Operative to the Rangers. And I want to talk a little briefly about Lone Operative is that not all characters have it. And I've seen a lot of people building lists out there that have characters that are not attached to units, and that might end up being a huge liability. Like this, we talk about towering being a very powerful keyword, but Lone Operative might, is a close second.
Yes. Lone Operative is definitely one of the most powerful keywords. It is very strong.
I've got a fix in mind for Lone Operative should it become erroneous or overpowered, and we also unlock a lot more power from Precision in the same way, because you make Precision ignore Lone Operative, and so if you do have a character just sitting out in the open, well, here's my 5 Sniper Scouts or Death Marks or whatever who actually get to.
Honest.
Exactly right. Keep them honest, because it feels like it's thematic, right? They're snipers; they should be sniping. But
and you're talking about speculation, or you're like this. You're just like theory.
This is what I would do.
Whatever.
This is what I would.
Yeah. But right as it stands right now, it is incredibly powerful, and it doesn't exist everywhere you think it might if you're just experimenting with lists out there. So
so make sure you actually look at the keywords, the abilities.
So Lord Solar Leontis, not a Lone Operative.
Correct. It's really interesting to see. I think there's a really big dynamic or even overarching archetype going on with our first press index list at the moment, and it's really deemed by how much you put into characters and how much you don't. Brad Chester here has gone into the minimum characters archetype, and we'll see some other Eldari lists coming that have gone into the maximum characters, archetypes. And you can see the same for things like demons especially as well. But let's jump in. Very good list by Brad. Let's jump into the next one. We have Roland Crawley. He's playing Adeptus Custodes, and of course, a shield host attachment. I put this one up because it's teeny tiny, and I like it still.
I knew we had extra time. That's why I talked about Lone Operative before.
That's right. That's right. He's got 3 shield captains in Alaris Terminator armor, each one going with a unit of 5 Alaris Terminators, 2 Caladius Grav tanks, and a single Telemon. This is hilarious and is not as bad as you think, but it is bad against some things. A lot of people have bemoaned the fact that the Custodes have really bad matchups into Knights. Hopefully, with Knights getting a bit of a hit, that's been rebalanced. Funnily enough, I actually quite like this against one of their worst matchups with his GSC, because each one of those Alaris Terminators has a D3 blast gun. So your 20 Neophytes, what's that? At 6? That's minimum. What's 6 times 4? Jeez, I suck.
24.
It's a minimum 24 shots plus 6 D3 from each unit of Alaris. So that's 72 plus. What, 15 D3 shots? 18 D3 shots. That could just be some really good anti-infantry fire coming from that. But despite this, they're still actually not that durable. Toughness 6, I think it's 4 wounds with a 2-up, 4-up. And unlike Wardens, they don't have that little spicy feel no pain once per game. What do you boys think of this?
Custodes are actually low-key busted right now. Like, they're really strong. It's just the only way that they feel more balanced right now is because if you look at the list here, they are a lot less model count. So it's harder for them to play some missions.
Yeah.
Unless they're built towards doing the standard or the static game.
There is a play now, especially after maybe some of the point changes and stuff, where the fixed missions instead of flipping cards may work out better for some lists.
Correct.
Absolutely.
It has been speculated. Oh, sorry, Alaris T7 as well, which is a beautiful breakpoint. Thank you very much, Dorian, for pointing that out. And Diogo Peter in the chat commenting on on Brad Chester's Eldar list. Is that because are you in the chat because you know your list is coming up next, mate?
Yeah, he's definitely in the chat because
you took the yin card. All right, yeah, fair enough. He's just here to hear about himself.
I'm surprised he didn't do that. It's pretty good. Only good players take that.
Yeah, he's lining up his own shot. He's like, oh, look, a good list. Wonder who this is. Oh, it's me. Anyway, I do think Custodes are in a pretty good place. They got some wonky matchups. I like what you said, Paul, because I do think they are one of the factions that can build to play fixed predominantly and then play tactical in the matchups they need to.
Yeah.
All right, jumping down to the third from the Salt City GT, we have Ryan Snyder, who's playing Adeptus Astartes, and this is kind of the Adeptus version of the Brad Chester list that we just saw previously, and it's absolutely savage.
Is this a Gladius Strike Force?
This is the Gladius Strike Force. He's got a Phobos Libby. That's the only character in the list. And then 5 Incursors, 5 Infiltrators, 2 Predator Annihilators, 2 Predator Destructors, 3 Repulsor Executioners, 2 Storm Speeder Hail Strikes, and a Whirlwind. So,
I want this against Chester's match on stream, and I want it to... It's just World of Tanks right there.
Two turns to complete.
2 turns.
Yeah.
Somebody's dead. We don't know who, but somebody's just going to die.
Well, it's so this plays pretty fair 40k compared to Brad's, because Brad's going to have like one of his 3 fire prisms, fire and fading an angle, and so it's going to be pseudo indirect from there and then 3 night spinners and D cannons being indirect as well. Whereas this has to see all of its predators apart from the Whirlwind. I do like the Storm Speeder Hail Strikes addition into this because they're the cheapest of the Storm Speeders. If I remember correctly, one thing that they shoot at gives, and then everything else that shoots at that they give ignores cover to. So they're like a marker light. Then you can deep strike them. So deep strike them down. They just hit them with their like frag storm nonsense guns, where all the other guns of consequence go somewhere else. And then the repulsor executioners and the predators ignores cover against it. So I think that's pretty cute. Repulsor executioners, boys. Where do we think they're at? Are they irrelevant? And then the other can of worms is Predator. What? How? When? Huh? Did I miss a meeting? Predators are back.
Maybe. I actually love the Predator model. I don't know why. I just love the look of a standard tank. I've always enjoyed them.
No, the Rhino frame, is kind of hard not to like, especially if you've been in the game for a long time. I mean, I guess it has that. So even like ball predators are not embarrassing to take.
Yeah.
I think ball predators might be quietly one of the best things Blood Angels have. taking 2 full flamer Balpreds just for like Overwatch pressure is pretty sick.
It is.
I like them a lot.
In a lot of my test games, that's what I ran the trio of 3-ball predators just because I hadn't done it in a long time.
This list has so much DACA. As a GSC player, is this something that could handle GSC theoretically?
It depends on the GSC list. Like, I mean, the standard one, it has a really good go first now, like with the bikes and the aberrants that are infiltrating. So, yes, definitely. But it needs the problem with it is it has to really push forward against the GSC, and GSC wants you to do that, and they won't let you do it. So
fair.
It definitely has the DACA to do it, but GSC have the tools to fight against it. It's actually a fair matchup. It's one of the fair matchups, and I like it.
Fair enough. All right, so boys.
We pick a winner. Now we know we're going to see there. We know some of the highlighted list. What faction is going to pick? I don't want to pick first because I know what the answer is.
Yeah, well, I think we're going to. Can we vect?
We're vecting Eldari.
No Eldari. Eldari do not count for the purposes of this.
Yeah. So in hindsight, when you listen to the part 2 and you meme on us because the entire podium is like 1 to 5 Eldari, it's because we did it on purpose to make this interesting. All right. I'm going to go first then. Oh, see, you have everything you have to pick now. You have to look through the lens of what's going to actually get a win versus,
or at least win
Eldar army, and therefore can make like top 10 because it's actually hard to pick.
It is.
I'm going to go T-Suns. Let's go T-Suns.
Thousand Suns are good.
I think they're a bit of a sleeper.
That's a good one.
Yep. We go T-Suns.
I don't know if they're a sleeper. I think it's just most people don't have all the models they need, because no one was really getting Mutalith Beast.
Vortex Beast, exactly.
Hey, those are cool. The ones that I have seen, they're really cool models. I love seeing them.
Oh, they're awesome models, and they're great for bits. Like if you were doing demon prints making.
That's the problem. They're great for bits.
Correct.
Yeah.
All right, Dustin, you're next.
I'm actually going to go Custodian.
Nice, not a bad pick.
Imperial Knights.
Good picks all around. I think we all picked from the podium, but none of us picked top slot. I like that very much. All right, gents, what's the next event?
Well, we couldn't pick the top slot, and
exactly
that was almost 20% of the field. So anything we were going to choose was probably
freaking yikes. It's such a yikes.
But that's what look, I'm glad that the Games Workshop's so responsive to maybe some of the things and trends, and so here we go. We're going to see how that changes for next week. Next event we're going to be talking about is the TGX from Mississauga, Ontario, Canada.
Mississauga. Better
you than me, Paul. Better you than me.
Mississauga.
Mississauga, Ontario, Canada.
Don't you know? 93 players. 6-round event. What are we going to see there?
We are not sure because they elected to use the new points that were changed.
Okay.
So they locked all the lists, and they're going to be unlocking them. So they're letting everybody make changes to their lists until noon tomorrow. So we don't have the full faction breakdown for this. I do know like nearly every single player that's going there, and it is actually a really good spread. There are still a lot of Eldari, but
so
I
if
think
you don't win this pick for who's winning this thing, something's, and we happen to luck into it.
This is it. It's going to be. We're going to put a modifier, a -1 on Dustin's score for this event.
Nope, that's not fair. No,
fair enough. So what it is, we took a lot of this information from BCP because the players in the, especially these larger events. I think that we've even kind of helped encourage people to make sure they list their factions and their list in this. But which such in the infancy of this edition here. And we have had this change, which has changed some points and some factions have had radical change. So what the organizers have done is chosen to do is allow people to change their list, and the things are still locked. So we don't know exactly who's playing there, but some of our buddies are playing there. And we want to talk about the event. It's a giant event coming up in a region of the world that, again, we know a lot of people. So let's talk about it.
Yeah, for sure. We do have access to a lot of lists, and I wanted to make sure we covered some of the more well-known players. We have couple people from my team, and I think everybody will know these guys too. So
exactly right. So thank you very much for the gentlemen who did give us their list, because we are kind of spoiling them, because naturally other people do have an opportunity to look these over before theirs are fully submitted. So
it's just between us.
Absolutely,
It's just between us.
between us, we asked permission. We asked permission from these guys to make sure that they're okay with us displaying it here. Because honestly, if you guys are watching this right now and you're going to start gearing your list towards the list you see now, you ain't going to beat them anyway. You ain't ready. Okay, so
man, Scary slapped his in like Sunday afternoon.
yeah, he was ready a week ago.
Yeah, doesn't matter. So first up, we do have Ridvan Martinez. You may know as the scarred one, Scary. He's playing Drakari, of course. He's got a real space raid with an Archon, 3x10 Kabalites, which I actually think Kabalites are phenomenal.
They are.
5 Racks, 2 Raiders and a Venom, 2 single Kronos, 2x5 Mandrakes, 3 Ravagers, a unit of 3 Reavers, 3 units of 5 Scourges. They all have Dark Lancers, and 2 Talos. And this list has a lot of stuff, but it's so different to every single 9th edition one that we've seen.
It's a mix. Look at that. It's all over the place.
Yeah. It is. It's a little over the place. So I do strongly believe that the Drakari have some of the best action doers in the game. As in the things that will just simply exist in your list and generate you points. Mandrakes and Scourges. Scourges add legitimate value as well, packing Dark Lancers as well, but they get to jump up, jump down, go here, go everywhere, fire and fade, all this stuff. Mandrakes, of course, taking them on and off the table every turn. You really get to just rip the cards off the top and then just go and get them very easily. In addition, Ravagers are extremely efficient for the points. They're very well pointed. And like I said, I think Kabalites are an actual powerhouse unit. They're legitimately good for their points.
They shoot so much.
Is it just the point ratio and the shots? Like, why are you saying Kabalites are something for people to focus on when you're trying to fill that slot?
Dustin, you experienced them probably yesterday. Give us a story.
Actually, it's just the amount of points they cost for the firepower they have. To put it in perspective, they are cheaper than knights, and they shoot more.
Yep. So they get
more consistently because they can just rerolls it on any.
Oh wow!
Okay. They get the heavy weapon. They get usually the splinter cannon. They get a special weapon as well, and then they get is it a third special weapon?
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure I think they get 2 special or two big ones, 1 special or 2 specials.
Yep.
Yeah, like either blaster, shredder, and then dark lances and splinter cannons. Everything else is splinter rifles and grenades.
Yeah, extremely efficient for the points because they're like what 110, I think.
I think they're 110 or 120.
Yeah, really good. All right, let's hope Diogo's still here because we're about to do his list. Just kidding. We're going to do him last. Sam Procopio is up next. Your man's here in the field, Paul. Your champion.
Love this.
He's playing
Blood Angels representing.
That's right. You want to give us a breakdown of the list, mate?
Here we got Captain with a jump pack, 5 Desolation Marines. It feels like you can't leave home without the Desolation Marines. You want that threat of indirect. 2x5 Devastators, 3 Inceptors, 1 Librarian Dreadnought, only 5 Sanguinary Guard, 3x5 Sniper Scouts getting that board control, 2x10 Stern Guard. What on earth is happening? 2 Whirlwinds. So
very lean.
Absent are several things: Death Company, Vanguard Veterans, Ante. Like, this is almost gone with the Shing version of, and this is when I like to reflect back on the fact that the Blood Angels are actually a core chapter. They are a run-of-the-mill standard chapter that just happens to be good at close combat in certain areas.
100% agree. I'm a big fan of this list, and after unpacking a lot of the chap-specific indexes like the Blood Angels, the Dark Angels, the Space Wolves, etc. It pretty much ubiquitously, all like the best players of those factions have decided that the best way to play them. It used to be that you would take like 70-30, 80-20 Blood Angels to vanilla, right? And now that polarity is kind of shifted. And perfect example here by Sam. He's got 1 Libby Dreadnought and 5 Vanguard, and those are the things that he has decided from the Blood Angels were included into a vanilla list rather than the other way around. And of course, this is a Gladius. Paul, are you able to break down to us how the Libby's psychic power work? Because this whole list is almost predicated on getting value out of that.
Yeah, let me actually look that up as far as, because I want to make sure I don't get anything wrong. But as far as like the 5 secondary guard go and talk about that, is that I have to believe that is basically just to take advantage of that rapid ingress.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and also be a deterrent to, like, you can't really push on me because I got 5 Sangard who will kind of kill anything, and they should for the points. And when you get their Warlord, they get -1 to hit and -1 to wound, yeah?
Oh yeah,
Warlord's in the unit, yeah.
So Shield of Sanguinius is an aura. So while a friendly Adeptus Astartes unit within 6 inches of this models in that unit have the Feel No Pain 5+ ability against mortal wounds and psychic attacks.
Okay.
Pretty nice.
So, Thousand
devastating
Suns.
wounds, they do a lot of mortals.
Yep, and then the next one is the kicker.
Well, this is the Wings of Sanguinius. For the Librarian Dreadnought. Once per turn, at the end of your movement phase, 1 Psyker from your army with this ability can use it. If it does, roll a d6. On a 1, take the wounds. On a 2+, select 1 friendly Adeptus Astartes infantry unit within 12 inches of that Psyker and remove the selected unit from the battlefield. Then set it up again anywhere on the battlefield that is more than 9 inches away horizontally from all enemy units.
Excuse me?
Yeah, boy.
So it just...
Yeah. Good jump.
Not them. It used to be them to scoot or whatever.
Wow.
It's the jump, man. That's why you got 2x5 devs. That's why you've got 2x10 Stern Guard. They don't need a drop pod because you're just going to go 2+. They're going to go over there, get the perfect angle, blow you up. It's really kind of cute, and it's legitimately that ability might be the best thing in the Blood Angels book because it's something you can't get anywhere else. It's so potent. Really, really, really strong.
Yeah, I like the use. I wouldn't have necessarily gone with, or I wouldn't have thought to go with the Devastators, but this is, you can definitely tell that they're playing the missions, they're playing the meta, and they're figuring out a way to make that faction work for them, which is what you come to expect out of faction specialist, and it's so fun to see sometimes.
Yeah, exactly right. All right, on to Diogo Peter's Eldari list. So this is, I put this one because remember what I said about Brad Chester's list? We have the people who are minimizing their characters and supposed character tax to get the premium enhancements, make their army work and stuff. And the other people who are maximizing them. I think Arn Zernt from last week, who at the Alpine GT, was in a similar vein to Diogo's, but Diogo's gone even more elite. He has a Battle Host attachment, of course. He's got an Autark Wayleaper, a Farseer, a Solitaire, 2 Spirit Seers, a Yin Khan, and then we go into the actual units in his army. 2 D-Cannon support batteries, just singles. 2x10 Wraith Guard with Wraith Cannons, and a single Wraith Knight. And of course, we know this event is using the new points as well, as were the 2 previous, if we didn't say. But
no kidding. Like, hand to heart, I've actually advised a buddy to make a very similar list like 3 days ago. Like,
dude, it's got more characters in it than units. So there's 5 total units that aren't characters, and there's 6 characters. It's hilarious. Good for him.
The characters were different, but he was like, I said, you need to look at Wraith Guard, and he's like, he sent me this list with like 10 Wraith Guard. I'm like, that's not enough Wraith Guard. You need to.
So I think Wraith Guard are nuts for the points. It's 310 points for 10 Wraith Guard. Like, that's cheap for the durability, the wounds, the jank damage up. It's cheap. It's so cheap, man. They're so good.
What?
And this is perfectly telling you the stuff you should start leaning into now that some things have been nerfed for Eldar.
So much of this game, you can kind of do if you're in the center of the table. And so when you have just 2 fat units that are really good at soaking up damage while also dishing out pain, then they're not, when you're in the center of the table, you're not far from anywhere that you got to be from any of the random things you might pull out of the deck or satisfy the primary, and you kind of keep doing that layers of stuff as you're maybe spilling into what your opponent's objectives they keep trying to retake or whatever. Wraith Guard can probably do that really well. I mean, this is all in the mind right now. We'll see how it all plays out, but Wraith Guard seemed like a strong unit.
Yeah, I feel like they're actually really, like, I didn't even know they're 310 points. Like, they're ridiculously valuable for their points then. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, let me just triple check that, because as soon as I said it, it sounds absolutely
and they get
inane.
They shoot in combat. You don't care. Shoot whatever. Shoot all the time. Great. Now my D-Cannon is a pistol. My D-Cannon's a pistol right now. Did I tell you that? Zap!
I was correct. 310 for 10. Oof. 31 points a model. Yikes. All right, picking a winner time, boys.
Are we axing Eldari again? Because there are a lot of good Eldari players there.
Nah, let's open it up. Pick whatever you want.
I won't do it anyway, just out of...
Yeah, we'll veto you from picking Eldari.
I know 3 of the Eldari players that are like any one of them could easily win.
Look,
even with
the chat actually said that no one's picking Blood Angels this week. I'm picking Blood Angels this week. Blood Angels.
This is the place to do it right now.
This is it.
This event for sure.
100%. I'm picking. I'm back in Skari. Let's go. Dark Eldar.
That's what I was gonna go with. Damn it.
That's because you played him yesterday. You know how good his list is.
That list is brutal. He's like, it has the keys to win against any army right now.
He's going down in the third.
We called it. All right, what are you going to pick, Dustin?
Oh, geez. Well, that kind of limits me. Now that I can't pick Eldari, I can't pick the other 2 guys that I was going to pick. Damn it. Let me look at some of the other people that are here.
We can pick. We can double up on picks. There's no rules saying we can't.
Yeah, you can double up.
Yeah,
man. There's no stress. Oh, we can both go Drakari.
I mean, that's where I was going to go. I was going to go Drakari.
We'll go to Drakari.
Specifically Skari. Let's be honest.
Yeah. All right, one more.
All right. Well, the next event we're going to be covering, this is the Warhound GT in Lehigh, Utah. That is in the United States. That's actually where you can see War Games live as well. 49 players, 6-round event. This is another one of those things, great player to round ratio. Get that tension and the drama happening. So it'd be cool if you can watch it unfold on the stream. Dustin, what are we going to see there?
We are going to be seeing in Imperials Profession. There are 6 Custodies, 1 Admech. Hey, there's an Admech out. 2 Astra Militarum, 1 Grey Knight, 5 Imperial Knights, Space Marines. There's 3 Adeptus Astartes, 1 Dark Angel, 1 Space Wolf, 1 Death Watch, 1 Black Templar. Chaos, there's 1 Chaos Space Marine, 2 T-Suns, 4 Ds, 1 Renegade Knight. Xenos, there's 1 Necron and 1 Orc. Hive Mind, there's 3 Tyranids and 1 G-Stealer Cult. Eldari, there's 1 Drukhari and 9 Eldari, which means the faction podium is Eldari topping it off. Surprise, surprise at 9. And then Custodes in second with 6 and Imperial Knights in third with 5. The podium is pretty much what you'll expect for the next little while, I think.
It's exactly the same as
or for 1 week, actually.
Yeah.
So if it's exactly the same first 3 factions as the Salt City. Eldari at 11, Imperial Knights and Custodies at 5. So yeah, the first 3 factions are exactly the same for the 2 events that we have faction data for. So it pretty funny, really.
Before we run down some of the lists we're going to see there, let you know if it's your first time here, we're going to be doing a little palate cleanser at the end of this episode. It's fun, it's exciting, it is unique to this, someplace you can only get on the Warhammer Meta Chasers. Sometimes it's very little to do with the Warhammer, but it's a nice way to end the episode. But we're not there yet. We're going to jump into the same thing we've been doing, is covering the factions, or some of the lists and some of the folks you're going to be seeing playing in their list at this event, if we haven't.
We do have 2 lists for this event, and mostly I was pulling out lists from this event just to try and be a bit of a completionist, because we're trying to get as many factions lists broken down in the first couple of weeks and months of this edition as we can. But just to look at some of the data here, I mean, we're not surprised by the Custodians or the Imperial Knights. Surprised by the Demons. I have not identified Demons as being an especially strong faction in Index 40k. They're sitting decently in the middle of the pile, but I haven't got them in my top kind of couple of brackets. Why do we think there's a lot of plays for
them? I mean, they have the models. They were strong towards, in the solved edition from the previous one. So a lot of players probably got comfortable with how those things move around. And, you can make a case for a lot of Slaanesh demons. Again, it's not, I mean, the demons typically have tools.
Yeah, I think one of the things, if I was like a Slaanesh player specifically with the Keepers of Secrets and stuff, I feel like the nerf to fly would kind of make me feel better about my greater demons that didn't have fly. So okay, now everybody has to go around it now. My guys are kind of good again, right? It's just melee right now is so tough. It's so tough, and with the terrain being as heavy as it is, it's rough. But it's like you said, like the models are gorgeous. Like I love those models.
So if Rodriguez is only 285 points,
and absolutely huge, so big. Anyway, one of the guys who's bucking this trend, Jordan Gledhill, is in attendance with playing his Chaos Demons. I think he has a best in faction in the world for Sisters of Battle, Adeptus Sororitas. So he's slipped over to the demonic side of things. He has a demonic incursion detachment. Reads as thus: he's got Bellicor, Keeper of Secrets, a Lord of Chains, Shalaxi, and the Changeling. That is a lot of points in that HQ slot, but I think you need to. He's got a single Beast of Nurgle, 5 Seekers, and 2 Zinch marked Soul Grinders. So very thick of a list.
Yeah, very thick and purely.
I had heard something about Soul Grinders jumping back on the radar. Is that is that a real thing, or is this?
Yeah, look, I don't hate the Soul Grinders. I mean, once again, the logistics. You look at the data sheet, and it's actually kind of impressive what you get for the points. But then you look at the logistics of their implementation on the table, and we talk about this a lot. Like there is a thing to be said, like this is a good data sheet, but is the base too big? Can it fly? Does it move too short? Etc. Etc. And Soul Grinders is one of those things. If you are a good enough player to figure out logistically how to use it well, it can be a very good thing. Toughness 11 with 14 wounds, a 3-up save, a 4-up invulnerable save. Just has a 4-up invulnerable save with toughness 11 and 14 wounds is very, very good there. And then with the Mark of Zinch, what does it give you? It's equipped with the Warp Gaze, and that is a blast D3.
Sounds like mortal wounds to me.
No, it's not, unfortunately. It probably could have been 48-inch range. D3 shots is not heavy, not anything like that. It's just blast. Hits on a 3. Strength 12 minus 2 D6 plus 2 damage. So he's gone Zinch to give himself a gun. Essentially, is what I'm reading there.
Okay, all right.
It sounds like a pretty good one too.
Yeah, but I mean, they're still good in close combat, right? Because they are Soul Grinders. They're kind of supposed to be good in close combat.
Exactly right. They got their Iron Claw for 5 attacks at strength 16 minus 3 D6 plus 2, and then either the Warp Claw or the Warp Sword for additional 3 or 6 attacks at 8-1-2 or 8-2 D6. So yeah, they are actually legitimately good in combat. They are like 2 War Dogs strapped together in combat, and then not a horrible gun. I mean, they got the Harvester Cannon with 3 battle cannon shots at strength 10 minus 1, 3 damage, and then of course he'll have the Warp Gauge as well on his 2. So
this is like a new age monster mash in the sense. It's mostly close combat, a couple of guns in there, but it's just if you do fight those big things that kill big things, like all right, well you better kill me well, because when I get there, I'm gonna kill you better.
He's gonna kill you more better. That's right.
Kill you more better.
Yeah, and of course he's got Bellicor for the jank of making a lot of things untargetable as well, which I honestly think in the current index we have right now, where the only thing that matters is not getting shot, Bellicor is ubiquitous. He's probably auto include. All right, let's go over to the next one. And this next one is Chris Johnson playing Tyranids. And Dustin, I'm going to let you take it.
Okay. So he's doing this invasion fleet detachment. I don't know if you guys have heard of it or if you use it.
Never
or not,
heard of it.
But that's kind of what.
It's that one.
It's that one. Yeah. Yeah. Of all the ones he could have picked,
he could have picked, he picked that one. He's got a Broodlord, a Death Leaper, Hive Tyrants. Did you? You put Hive Tyrant at him.
I did.
Oh,
my gift to you.
Yay!
Take it back now that you.
That was a total mistake.
That was absolutely a mistake. There's no way he did it on purpose.
Brain fart. I was.
He didn't realize what he was doing. 3x10 gargoyles, a 2x10 termagants, an exocrine, 10 gene stealers, a Horospex, a Maliceptor, a Tyrannifex, 3 venom thropes, and 3 Von Ryan's leapers, and 3x3 zone thropes.
He's just trying stuff.
It's a lot of lists.
He is trying stuff for sure, and I can tell you right now, I there are some things in this that are incredible value.
Where are the barb cans?
They're not that good.
Can't you shoot them in like all different targets and just like get
You can.
Somebody's entire army like -2 move.
I mean, for adding one squad in is not bad because 50 points, and they're not like for 50 points. The things you can do with them, it's neat. It's a cool little gimmick. So I mean, add them in, sure. Maybe he didn't own. Did he? No, aside from he has a Devon, right? I was going to say maybe he didn't get the box.
Oh, I'm not questioning the pilot part. I'm just more. I think that's something that is not necessarily been talked about, and maybe that's even less of a concern because we're seeing people move towards mostly shooting and melee is less of
that's even the thing.
less present.
Yeah, if like infantry close combat came back, barb guns would be incredible, like absolutely incredible. But aside from that, like, with a vehicle heavy meta, I don't know. Zoanthropes are money right now, and if you know me, you know I love my Zoanthropes. Every time I play a tiered list, it starts with 18 Zoanthropes.
Nice.
It starts there. They're so good.
They're so good, man. The toughness 5, 3 wounds with a 4-up invulnerable save. They only move 5 now, so they're not that speedy. They are flight and infantry though, so walls and stuff doesn't really bother them. They got their warp blast, and then they got their focused version of the same thing. D3 blast. 7-2 D3 damage, very good. Or multi-purpose, light vehicle or marine equivalent killer. And then they got their focused version, which is one shot at strength 12 -3 D6 +1. So it's just a las cannon. So they just got a las cannon. He's got 9 las cannons just out of his units.
Every one of those guys is just they are good against every target, and they're durable.
I'm same as Drakari, I'm semi-incredulous about how much army you get to have in your Tyranids army. You look at just how much army there is here. There's 50 infantry just in the Gargoyles and the Termagants. Then there's another 10 in the Gene Stealers. Still got space for 3 legitimate characters. And then how many monsters? Exocrine, Haruspex, Maleceptor, Tyrannofex. 4 monsters. And then when we go to the medium bugs...
going.
Yeah, and then we go to the medium bugs. 3 Venomthropes, 3 Von Ryan's Leapers, 3x3 Zoes. Like, a lot of medium, a lot of light, a lot of monsters. I think it's a great spread of a list.
I like the Von Ryan's Leapers a lot. They have, you can target them basically for the free stratagem. So getting that heroic intervention is something you can do on the regular with them, and it's really nice to include.
Gene Stealers haven't been one that's been on my radar. In fact, I thought people were pretty down on them. Do you think they're just an experiment?
No, I actually like them with the Broodlord because they have the Broodlord in and now they get devastating wounds.
Yep.
And if they always reroll once the wound, but if they're on an objective, they reroll all wounds. Like that's 40 attacks with reroll all wounds hitting on 2s, devastating wounds. They can take over an objective, and in an objective-based game, because they can run up and charge really well. It's one of the better melee units. I do think Raveners are more valuable. They're better for their points.
Mm-hmm.
But Gene Stealers with the Broodlord, it's an investment because you have to add the Broodlord to really give them some value.
I tend to agree with that.
But they don't infiltrate like the GSC ones do. They only scout. That's the other downside. That's kind of where people are kind of down on them. If they infiltrated, I think people would be more on them. But if you look at the points, a lot of these things. And I can't believe I'm about to say this. It has been years, and I don't think I've ever been able to say it. The Haruspex is worth its points.
Dude, it's freaking good.
Oh my god! Like you were talking about the Soul Grinders. Do you know offhand how many points they are with their T11, 4-up invul, whatnot?
The Soul Grinders. Yeah, I'll go right now.
Because I'm curious the difference between them, point wise.
215.
215. For the 14 wounds, 11 toughness.
Yep. I know how much Haruspex is.
You don't?
I do.
A Haruspex with the same. It's a T11. I think it's T11. It might be T12 actually, but I think it's T11. T11, 14 wounds, 125 points.
Ridiculous.
18 attacks in close combat. 18.
Ridiculous. Yeah.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good, right?
So, yeah, I think the only reason people aren't taking 3 of them is they don't have them yet. They built them all as exocrines in 1800.
All of my exocrines are magnetized. I can make them all Haruspex at the tip of a hat.
That's the ticket, ain't it? Right there. But yeah, this guy is legit as a bully unit, as an imposing thing you have to address. The only thing he doesn't have in that comparison, of course, the Soul Grinder has a 4-up invulnerable save, but hey, the Soul Grinder has a massive freaking base you have to use now as well, and it's really, really unwieldy. The Haruspex is actually significantly smaller, still moves 8 inches, 14 wounds, so it has one. I believe it was the Soul Grinder 13, I think.
I think same toughness. 14, but same toughness.
Maybe 14. But yeah. 90 points. So, apples and oranges has to be said here.
And when it kills something in close combat, everything within 6 inches has to take a battle shot.
Well,
Tyranids are very much alike about that. They're very much about making people take battle shocks.
If my mate Billy next to me got numbed by this thing, I'd be shocked. I'd be like, ooh.
You'd be like,
I'm not. No stratagems can be used on me.
Do this. Nope.
Beautiful. What do you think of this list overall, mate? Is this a good starting point for Tyranid players out there?
I think this is more of a test.
Yeah, it seems like a bit of everything, right?
It's a bit of everything right now. It's kind of all over the place. It's got some good stuff in there, but I think a lot of the stuff is just a test, which is great. You gotta do this now. I can tell you right now, like the valuable stuff in there. The Harspecs is valuable for sure. I'm not saying take us in every list. I'm just saying it is definitely worth its points. Zoanthropes, on the other hand, take them in every list. They are incredible, especially for their points. For 6 of them, it's 180 points. That is the cheapest they have ever been in their entire career of Warhammer.
Agreed.
Oh my god,
they're phenomenal. They're phenomenal.
Venom Thropes always valuable because they give their stealth and give cover to people. Like, it's just everything else is testing. Tyrannifex, Maliceptor, I'm on the fence of. They both could be good. They have their uses. Genesters, like I said, they have play. I think Raveners are a little bit better for their points.
In a match playlist, you typically see 2 and 3s of each type of units because
exactly.
you're trying to stack up that dependability. Like you want, you're going for a certain effect, and you want to make sure that you get to do it because it's the tools that you think you need to to cut through that particular series of games at an event. So I think that's why we're talking about. This seems like I just want to play with these monsters and see what happens, see what I like more of. So the next event I show up, it looks a little bit different. Probably what this pilot's thinking, but
for sure.
At the same time, maybe he's just saying, look, it's outside of a couple of factions, things are wide open right now. I'm going to make sure I have all the tools.
Yep.
And then I'll just play the mission.
All right, boys, let's pick some winners. I might go first and go Imperial Knights.
Imperial Knights is good. I'm going Custodes on this one.
Good Custodes on this one. Okay. I am going to go Adeptus Astartes.
Beauty. All right, that is us done for our. And you'll have to join us over in part 2 this week to find out who won and who got the biggest high score out of us. For you who do not know, the high scores will be, if you get a first place, it's 3 points, second place 2 points, third place is 1 point for each of us. And then if nobody has picked anything on the podium, then it goes down to the next single person who comes up. Like if I picked T-Sons, Dustin's picked Custodes, Paul's picked Imperial Knights. None of those are on the podium. The next one of those that shows up, that person gets a point. All right.
That's how we do this for sure.
This is the point in the show where we just have a little bit of a break from all the crunchy stuff we're talking about the meta and numbers and factions and winning and that kind of stuff. This is the palate cleanser I was talking about before. It's a segment we call the Fuego Rapido, where we give ourselves a series of topics, or sometimes the Patreon subscribers give us a series of topics. Sometimes, they just mysteriously appear out of nowhere because production has given us a series of topics. But we give ourselves 2 minutes per question or prompt or whatever to run down our rapid fire thoughts. And at the end of that 2 minutes, we abandon the topic, likely never to revisit it again unless it's hilarious.
Yeah, unless it's hilarious. Dorian, Trivagon is good or not worth to support the Gaunts? Right now, I feel like it's too expensive, but that could change. You need to spam Termagants, which some people do.
Some people.
Some people do that. They spam Termagants and Zoanthropes. I don't know.
Well, let's jump to this final segment. Once the clock starts, I'll read the topic, and then we can run down. Where we got or where we're at. What special thing did you do for the long weekend? Is it a long weekend for anybody? I'm the only American on the show right now.
Canada Day. We had a long weekend as well.
Oh, you did? All right.
We did. What did you do for our long weekend?
What did I do last weekend? I don't know, something. It was great though. Like it was probably just as good as yours. I didn't blow anything up though, which is probably to my chagrin.
That's unfortunate.
For me, it wasn't a long weekend. We actually had to come to work on Monday, and they got Tuesday off.
Nice.
And so,
oh, really?
So it was a fairly slow. It was actually a good Monday because I got to catch up on some stuff. Because not a lot of people were in the office. They were actually taking that long weekend. But for the 4th of July, which is so weird because we say that in the European date format. Or the UK date format, so July 4th, like we would say.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I never thought of that.
Yeah, it is. You say 4th of July. That's right.
Weird. That's weird.
That's one step towards metric. Congratulations.
We're almost there.
keep going.
Well, we had a nice day with the whole nice evening with the whole family. Did some cool stuff with some food and watched.
You did barbecue, right? Isn't that kind of customary?
It is a barbecue day, although I made what was my wife referred to as walking tacos.
Walking tacos?
Walking tacos, yeah. Which I got, this is not, we didn't make up the idea or whatever, but basically crunched up Doritos in a bag of Doritos, cut the side off, and then made like a little taco bar where people could make their own tacos in this bag of Doritos and eat them.
Oh, wow.
That's pretty cool.
It's a big hit with kids.
Yeah, it would be.
But we set up some fireworks, a little bit of small fireworks outside the neighborhood, did some stuff, and it was cool. It gives me a great family time. Really enjoyed it.
Perfect.
Nice. Fuego.
Favorite
You'll never know what I did.
long weekend activity. Well, you can this. Maybe you did it. Maybe this is a way to revisit. We found a back door into the
back door. Oh, well, no. I've been on a month-long weekend at this point, but it's not like a break because we're doing stuff now that we were able to take.
I'm really glad we spent 30 seconds of this question talking
right. We start taking Alex into stuff, so I can say my favorite long weekend activity is actually starting to develop now because we now every Friday we have a farmers market that opens up downtown, and we all walk down as a family down there, and there's all kinds of kid stuff to do. So that's quickly becoming a favorite activity. It's actually a lot of fun.
All right.
There's all kinds of great, like they got like great like Hungarian sausages there and stuff. They got the hot dogs, pizza. All the farmers are there with all their fresh produce. Oh, so good. So good. And again, they have the kid stuff there. He can't obviously participate in it yet, but he will. So
so that actually leads into mine pretty well because I like to cook. I really enjoy cooking. And long weekends, I love to get like 3 or 4 pots going and just stock the fridge and freezer with just batch meals for the next couple of months. I love cooking on long weekends.
Just any cooking.
Yeah, I'll do a soup, I'll do a stew, and then I'll do like a braise or something or a roast.
Why the hell didn't you cook while you were staying at my place, Adam?
Well, I don't want to. It's a bit rude, right? Be like, hello,
what?
Dustin,
rude Canada. To cook dinner for someone?
Get out of your kitchen. Leave. There's nothing here for you. This is
I can tell you in Canadian culture that is not an insult at all.
Okay, I'll definitely cook for you next time I come. I'd love to actually.
Sweet. My favorite long weekend activity is as little as possible. Unless
that's a good one. Also.
That's a good thing. That is a good activity. That is an enjoyable one for sure.
Here we go. So the next one I guess ready is any other Independence Day holidays in other countries you celebrate?
Well, Canada Day, kind of, right?
This is taking the piss, right? Because neither Dustin or my countries have independence. Like we're still colonial. This is a joke, right? Is that yeah? We're on the same page.
Are you talking about we don't answer to anybody?
I know. I've seen your money. There's pictures of
royalty on them. Yeah, we don't have to change our coins or anything now.
What I discovered is Canadian money basically is indestructible. Like you can't tear it. You have to
the new ones actually are. They're really they are.
I mean, not that I was interested in tearing up money, but it was like someone's like, you can't tear it. I was like,
that's how it starts. People always say you can't tear it, and with Canadian money you actually can't. I do that with American money. You can't tear it. Shh.
Yeah.
Cloth money.
I can't remember when that started. That was almost a decade ago or something that they did that. I don't even know why. It's just kind of like, our money's indestructible now. We have made it out of adamantium. So it's just
so Australia has Australia Day, which is in January usually, and it's a little on the nose because it celebrates the day Captain Cook came to Australia and discovered it, essentially, which
discovered
was exactly right. It was not a great day for the people who were already there and
who'd
already been living there for 60 to 80,000 years. But no, he definitely discovered it. So it's a bit on the nose.
I like it. Oh, Cinco de Mayo. Is that like an Independence Day? I don't know the culture.
I think it's a misconception that it's an independence.
I think there is.
Yeah, definitely not.
I think there is a day for Mexican Independence Day. I'm not sure it's Cinco de Mayo. I'll look it up.
I mean, I'd celebrate the hell out of that, because I love going to those.
You can still do that. I mean, we do that.
Well, sure.
It's
that's fair.
Have a
is 27th of September 1821 when they became separated from Spain.
There you go. We just gave you a history lesson here too.
There you go.
You had everything on the Meta Chasers, guys. Everything.
Look, I didn't write these questions. I didn't say, what year did your country gain independence?
Oh, why'd you look it up? Oh, gee.
Yikes.
Why am I going to answer this? Because technically...
So, Australia became a nation in 1901. We became a federated nation in 1901. So I guess that's the closest we got. We absolutely are. On the world stage, Australia is young as hell.
1776 over here.
1776. I know it was in 1800. I don't know. Oh, okay. I know it was July 1st in 1800.
What, that y'all became your own sovereign country or something? Or are you a sovereign? I don't look. This I'm showing my ignorance here.
You even a country up there?
Are we even a country? I don't think so.
It was awfully, country. It was a nice place.
Okay. I'm looking. So I'm not looking at anything. I'm looking at my Warhammer figures. I know it's 1800s, and I know it was July 1st because that's when Canada Day was. So 18. I got this. There's this 1867.
1867.
I know my country.
What is that? Right? What year? What are we actually talking about? Like, what is independence or countryhood or
federation? Probably.
Yeah. So that was like.
Can everyone else hear you? I don't know if everyone else can hear you. Okay.
So it's like the made our Declaration of Independence like the states did, for those of you that are familiar with that. I can't remember what it was actually like. The Dominion of Canada, I think it was.
That sounds awfully fancy.
It is. We are fancy. It was awesome,
right? Fuego that. Let's move on.
Nailed it.
Independence Day or Mars attacks?
Mars attacks.
Man, no, come on. Independence Day is like you cannot be flipping through the channels and not stop on Independence Day.
Welcome to Earth. Exactly right. I was about to say that if you remove Will Smith punching an alien in the face, Mars attacks all the way.
No, there's so many good scenes.
No issues. It's a fun ride. I'll give you that, but it is no Mars attacks. Yeah, exactly.
I am on the fence with this one because they're two very different styles, right? So it's really what I'm in the mood for. Same premise, sure. Earth gets invaded by aliens. Yeah, I mean, sure. Do you want to see Earth get invaded by aliens? If that's all I want to see, I probably want to see Independence Day. That's what I was looking for.
Disappointing.
Well, okay. Well, give me another scenario of like the same kind of movie. That what would you ask me? Do you want to watch like Earth get invaded, or do you want to watch a comedic version?
I mean, if you wanted to be silly like that, you could say, do you want to watch Terminator or Back to the Future? Because it's all time travel.
Yeah, exactly. See, but in this concept, that's kind of the same genre, right? Like not genre, but that's the same concept.
One is a film you can enjoy on so many different levels, from phenomenally bad script, plot, but enjoyable as hell, and then there's Mars attacks.
But you just compared Terminator 2 and Back to the Future. I'm actually having trouble picking between those two. Literally.
If it was Terminator 1, it's Back to the Future beats Terminator.
Yeah, for
Terminator
sure.
2
Terminator 2
is a different beast.
It's actually hard. I don't know.
For me, there have been times when it was Terminator 2, but now it's Back to the Future all day long.
Yeah, I think as I've gotten older, it's Back to the Future.
I think it's Back to the Future as I've gotten older too. Terminator 2 is. Don't get me wrong. Holy crap, is it ever a good movie?
I still remember the absolute event. No, I know it's over. But the fact that they were filming Back to the Future 2 and 3 at the same time, or a year later, it's not going to be a 2-year cycle. It was amazing. But it's still Independence Day. That's all. I'm glad we all agreed on that.
Yep, definitely. Nobody was thinking
One,
attack.
because we're here. No, okay, sorry, no, never mind. Because we can do a whole Fuego on which sequel is better. This sequel versus this sequel. Next question. This.
Oh, there we go.
That's
Next
week.
week's Fuego is sequels.
Battle of the sequels.
Battle of the sequels. Here we go. Get in your sequel questions, guys. The sequel battle.
Yeah, and the chat's pointed out that y'all had an unfair advantage on in that Fuego because of Hamilton. So, like, obviously, if you stay current on.
Yeah, we actually don't have any musicals about Australian Federation. It wouldn't go down well.
That's 2 weeks from now. We'll write a musical about Australia's Federation.
Yeah. Okay. We'll get the South Park boys to do it. They'll get it right. Trey Parker. Yeah.
That is our show this week. This is basically episode 2 of the brand new edition of Warhammer 40,000. This meta is going to change. We know it's going to change. Some of these are using the release stats. We're already into the slight little change, which is going to shake up that faction podium. And I'm curious to see what it is going to be. If the chat or in the comments you have any ideas or predictions about what you think that podium is going to be next week, let us know. That type of engagement is one of the ways that you kind of trick the algorithms into showing other people that the show exists and have them come and hang out with us and participate with us and everything as well. I know we talked about the Patreon at the very beginning, but that's another way that you can support the show that does give you access to the show notes after the fact. It also gives you access to the follow-up show, the wrap-up show that we do, that talks about if we were right or not from this episode. We do a little bit of talking in that as well, but then only on the subscriber part of it. Other than that, it's been an amazing week. I'm glad to be back on this part of the show.
Welcome back to this part of the show.
Welcome
Good
back
luck to everybody playing this weekend as well. We want to see all this 10th edition meta shape up with the new points changing too, so things might look different next week.
Chat, y'all been amazing. We'll see y'all soon.
See you next week.
See you soon, guys. Good night.